Hello everybody, welcome back to Jim Boy's Kitchen. Well, today I'm not going to be making a dish. I'm not going to be going out no place on a scenery, but I'm just sitting down here and remembering things. And something came to my mind that I will never forget. It's that 911 tragedy. That 911 tragedy. And of course, everyone knows this happened in 2001, 20 years ago. Something I would never forget. As I'm sitting down here, I'm looking at these wonderful trees that lost their leaves, up on the hilltops, beautiful houses, cloudy skies. So, with the cloudy skies, I kind of remember that very morning of the 911 incident. It was a clear sky, it was not cloudy sky. It was a nice blue sky. And I recalled at that time I was a cab driver. I was a taxi driver, and I was in Queens at that point. So that morning I was parked in the street. You know, in New York City, you have to move your car a certain time for cleaning and all of that, street cleaning. So I was looking at the news that morning, and then I saw the news, breaking news at that point. And as interested as I were looking at the news, I happened to see a broadcast came in saying that a plane has crashed into one of the World Trade Center. So at that point, I'm thinking to myself, well, it's a clear skies. And you know, many people at that point, even the newscasters, no one knew at that point what really caused this accident, but the plane crashed into the World Trade. No one knew it was a commercial jet. No one knew it was many thought it was a private jet. So I'm like thinking, man, this guy, this pilot is probably blind or something. How come he didn't realize that he can't see a tall building in bright daylight? It was morning, but it was very bright. It was a nice day, 70-something degree if I'm not wrong. Blue skies, the sun was shining out. All right, I left there, went to move my car from one side of the street to another. Took me about maybe 20 minutes, bought my coffee, came back. When I came back, I'm looking again. Then they said a second plane crashed into the World Trade, the second World Trade. That's when many start realizing maybe it's deliberately done. At that point, I'm within myself, I'm like, oh man, this can be two accidents within half an hour. So, got me interested in watching the news at that point. And as I'm looking at the news, um, the mayor, Giuliani, was the mayor at that time, Rudolph Giuliani. So I got to give him credit for all the work that he has proceeded with during that tragedy. Yes, he was a great man, and, you know, I must say. Um, and of course was admired a lot by me and all the rescue workers and so. However, as I'm looking, an hour, 2 hours went by, start seeing the commotion that's taking place in Manhattan. Um, they announced that the trains will be out of service, the buses will be out of service because New York City was under attack. Emergency services were allowed, for example, the ambulances, the fire trucks, and emergency transportation to get people A to B, the way they gotta go. Well, I don't know. I just picked myself up. I said I couldn't stay no more looking at this. I need to be out there in Brooklyn. I couldn't go to Manhattan because from the Brooklyn Bridge was all blocked up. People were walking across the bridge at the time. Well, it took me, as I went back to my car in anger at that time, at that point, to know what's taking place with the wonderful building of New York City called the World Trade Center, an iconic Twin Towers, you know. It touched my heart, very sadly. So I jumped in my taxi and I continue on the Van Wyck Expressway, which I got stuck for maybe about 2 hours there. But never stopped me. I wanted to just go there to see what I could have done. And I must say, this is not about me. Not because I'm talking here. It's not all about me. It's about the other people that tried to do the same, to stretch their hand out and help others. So I continue on 2 hours after I reach in Brooklyn. And I start going down, all the way down to Brooklyn Bridge, by that waterfront area, where we could get people coming from the bridge and needed transportation to get home, because at that point there was no buses running, no city transportation. So we had to take it in our own hands to help the people. And I recall that day I never charged no one no fare, because this was heartfelt. I did about 15 hours that day, and it was so relief to see the people. I had people with ashes on their skin, men, women with suit and tie, bloody, ashes all over the skin, their head, all over the place. And I felt so overwhelmed to know that they are in my car and I could have taken them where they gotta go. Some were crying, um, put me in tears as the cab driver. I had people sitting in my car trunk. I recall one guy wanted to sit on the roof of the car, but safety reason, others was there to put him in their car. If I had no choice, I would have let him sit on that roof. It was so sad that day. And the car was all filled up, and we continue. And I recall the mayor even said to the basis that I will reimburse you with all your gas and all of that, but we never look forward as drivers. It just touched my heart. I felt I had to do this for the people. And I continue back and forth, taking people where they gotta go, drop them off, and my intention was only to go back to Brooklyn Bridge after dropping people off where they gotta go. And I spent maybe about You would not believe it, maybe about $300 in gas that day. Just going back and forth to just bring people. And when they were crying, I cried with them. When they shook their head, I shook my head with them. It was so sad. And at that time, I was listening to 1010 Winds radio, this is news radio, and when they mentioned, Bin Laden, I never knew who that was, who that person was. I didn't kind of care. I just wanted people to be safe, even though tragically thousands have died that day when the World Trade Center collapsed. When I heard that news, it was an ego in me, even though I were helpless. In that situation, I was like, damn, man, I felt like going and fight Bin Laden myself. But it was an illusion of my mind, just to see what tragedy was unfolding that day, that morning. And so just a little bit memory I got there. And I sit down here looking at that hill, the trees with no leaves, and just think about this is something I could never forget. That day, I still, as I'm doing this memory with you here, I must tell you, I could still see the people. I'm sitting in a car right now, but I must tell you, it's like I could still remember this gentleman's face in the back of me with blood coming down his forehead. A woman with her torn clothing, and she was covered like in a towel in my car. I remember seeing the people in the trunk. I don't know. And I know those people are alive right now. Wherever they are, wherever you folks are, I'm happy that you made it out safely. And to all that lost their lives, that tragic morning of September 11, 2001, may your soul rest in peace. And to the family, stay strong. I just had to sit down and just talk about this a little bit. Because this is always in my mind. I would never forget this 911 incident. And when the building collapsed, that was another twist of the day. Yeah. I remember having no sleep that night, that day. As tired as we were, wasn't me alone. I'm talking on behalf of the other taxi drivers that cooperated with me. And we were the only emergency service allowed on the street at that time. Thanks to all the law enforcement that allowed the taxis to continue doing what they had to do that morning, knowing that we were there to help. And taxi business is about making money to live. making money, but that day, that never came to none of us minds. We're just there to take the people where they gotta go. So I still remember this, the 911, September 11th, and it's 20 years. This is 2001. I don't know, I just sit down. I hope it's the right time that I'm saying this, and if it's not, abide with me. You don't have to look at the video, but it's just my memories. Thank you very much. Please subscribe, press the notification bell. If you like this that I shared with you, thank you. Just a memory of 911. Jim Boy's Kitchen, thank you again. Bye everybody.